In this class I want to talk about the meaning of product in a marketing context. Now, according to the American Marketing Association, a product is anything that can be offered to the market for attention, acquisition or consumption, including physical objects, services, personalities, organizations and desires. So it's anything that can be offered to the market for attention, acquisition or consumption. That's the key term. Anything that can be offered to the market for attention, acquisition or consumption. According to the American Marketing Association, anything that fits that set of requirements is a product. Jobber in 2004 defined a product as anything that has the ability to satisfy a customer need. That's what a product is. As to whether, of course, a product is offered for sale is a different matter. Many products may satisfy a customer need, but it would not be viable or would not be profitable to sell them at certain prices. As to whether the customer was able and willing to pay a higher price is a different issue. So I think that needs to be amended slightly. Anything that has the ability to satisfy a customer need at a profit is a product. If it's not at a profit, it will not be offered. It will not exist. Boone and Kurtz state that a product is a bundle of physical, service and symbolic attributes designed to satisfy a customer's wants and needs. A bundle of physical, service and symbolic attributes designed to. Again, I think the idea of a product should also include some idea of, or some reference to, I should say, profitability. Because without that, the product would not exist again. But these are fairly standard definitions. A product is the main source to which companies aim to satisfy customer needs. Customer needs are seen through the, if you like, the lens of a product, through the product lens. Customer needs are what needs to be addressed, and the product addresses the needs, and the business makes the product. The product addresses the needs of the customer pays for the product, and the business receives the revenue. It is ensuring that the product meets the needs, because if it doesn't, the customers will not buy it. There will be no sales and no revenue and no business. A product may be any of the following: material goods, intangible services, a location, a person, an idea. So any of those may be a product. Material good, something physical. An intangible service, for example, the service in a restaurant. It's intangible. You can't touch the service. You receive the service, but you can't touch it. It's not a physical thing. It's not tactile. You can't touch it. A location, perhaps promoting an area for holidays. A person, celebrities promote themselves all the time. It could be an idea to change lifestyles. The government wishes us not to smoke or not to abuse alcohol or to whatever. It could be an idea, put forward an idea, and that could be marketed. Tangible items can be grouped under two headings: consumer goods and business to business, B2B goods. So these won't be tangible. These are our physical goods. They can be grouped under those headings. Intangible products are services that a business may offer to its customers. It's still seen as a product even though it does not have any physical form. And indeed, intangible products, services, can be offered as consumer goods and as business to business as well. For example, a firm of solicitors, lawyers if you wish, will offer their services to an accountancy firm perhaps. That's an intangible product. It's a service, and it's a business to business, B2B. There are many of these headings, B2B. There's also B2C, business to customer. So there are many. There's G to C, government to customer. G to B, government to business. So it's just an abbreviated form of expressing the type of transaction. Consumer goods. Well, there are convenience goods. These appeal to a large market. They're normally consumed and purchased on a regular basis. For example, convenience foods. There could be household items, cleaning products, personal care, something which is just convenient, something which is easy to purchase, doesn't require a lot of thought, and it just makes life easier. They're normally a necessity, therefore a lot of importance is given to advertising and promotion. For example, cleaning products. We have to clean our homes, or we have to clean our clothes, so we need cleaning products. So there's a lot of advertising and promotion dealing with these. Convenience foods is not exactly a necessity, but I suppose it depends on where you're working or your lifestyle for that matter. But it's not really a necessity. We can survive without, but they're so convenient. That's what makes them so attractive. They tend to be cheap, and the aim is to sell large quantities. So they're cheap items selling large quantities. Shopping products. Well, these require a lot more thought, and these tend to be more expensive items. They include clothing, electrical products, house furnishing, personal services. Generally speaking, they have a higher margin for the retailer, and not so many stores will stock the products. So high-end electrical goods may be only stocked in a few shops in a given region, not in every shop, just a few, or maybe even just one. And time and money is invested in advertising, in promoting and in building brand reputation. These tend to be quite expensive items, furniture, expensive electronics. So it's important to have good information, good marketing and good placement in the market. There are also specialty products. A lot more time is invested in the decision-making process here. The products are much more expensive and provide good quality products. Examples could include designer clothing, luxury cars, good quality food, not just organic but perhaps exotic food. And generally speaking, they're aimed at a small target market. People who can afford these luxury items, or people with particular backgrounds that require or desire these items. So there are specialty marketing niches as well. And then of course, as I said earlier, business to business goods, well, purchased for business production. Decision making is consulted by the whole organisations. So decision making in business may involve committees or different managers making decisions, because these items could be very expensive and very specialised. A new piece of machinery, for example. They don't affect the consumer. The consumer is only interested in the final product. The consumer is not interested in the machinery that made the product, just the product itself. So these items are entirely business to business. And the individual needs have to be satisfied within the business. The managers have to be happy with the purchase. The workers have to be happy with the purchase because they have to work with it, if it's a specialized machine, for example. So there still is the need to address needs and wants. There still is marketing. It's just not marketing to the public. In terms of business to business, well, raw materials, these are needed to produce the final product. Sometimes they're bought in bulk. Raw materials could be iron ore, chemicals, bricks, steel, etc. Depends on what's been made. But generally speaking, as I said earlier, the final customer is not interested in these. We don't go out and buy a lot of cement or a lot of steel ourselves. We buy products made from cement and made from steel, but we don't actually buy the raw materials, generally speaking, ourselves. We leave that to specialists and we buy the final product. Machines and tools are also items that involve business to business purchases. They tend to be expensive, but provide benefits to the organisations for longer periods of time. So the decision making process includes agreement to purchase, financing, maintenance, contracts, guarantees, warranties, and so on. But it's business to business, and there is marketing involved at that level. There are sales teams who are dedicated to sell from one business to the next. And in a sense, that is the way production occurs in wider society. We start with raw materials. The raw materials are processed by business into final products which are sold to the final customer. At both ends, needs and wants must be addressed. Moving from raw materials to the business, the managers and the workers, everyone involved in the business have a need for a certain type of, let's say, raw material. The quality of the raw material sold, its price, its attributes, the terms and conditions, and so on, these must address the needs of the managers and so on. So there are needs and wants being addressed, moving from raw materials to the business. But then there's also needs and wants to be addressed, moving from the business to the customer. And if this breaks down anywhere, then this whole business, this whole production system will stop, and the product will not come on the market. So such is the importance of addressing the needs and wants of the client. Accessory equipment. These are goods that are used in the production process or in conjunction with the final product. These goods are not expensive. That should be T-double-O, sorry about that. Not too expensive. Examples include software and tools. For example, sometimes if you buy a car, you get accessories, or you have to buy the accessories. These are add-ons, and the marketing people will try to sell the accessories because it's an extra product, it's an extra line of production that comes with the main product itself. And continuing to business goods, we have component parts. Component parts, these produce a final good. Buyers purchase the product according to their own preferences and requirements, but there are components perhaps, and the components could be outsourced to a different company. So the final product is made up from different components. It doesn't mean that the business made all of the components. They could have bought in the components from somewhere else. And again, the needs and requirements of the business must be met by the component suppliers. And the business must meet the needs and requirements of the final customer. Again, there are different sets of interested parties here who have needs and requirements, and all must be met. Otherwise, the system breaks down. The product will not be produced. We have consumable supplies. These goods play an element in the production process, but are not part of the product. Examples include lubricating oil. This is important in many production processes. However, it is not incorporated into the product. There are many items in the production process that may be used up, but are not a part of the product itself. And they are routinely purchased. But again, there is a market for them, and they must do a particular job if they are going to be supplied and if they're going to be purchased. Now, intangible products. Well, intangibility, the service provided cannot be seen, touched or tasted. The majority of tangible products come with intangible services, and vice versa. I'd say the majority, maybe that's an exaggeration, a lot, many. Sometimes if you buy a particular car, that's a tangible product. You've bought the car. You may go out and touch the car. It has physical existence. But the seller may give you some instruction on how to use the car, or may take you for a test run in the car. That's an intangible service. It comes with the tangible product. It comes with the car. So there might be a training session if you buy a computer, a particular computer. They might offer you certain tutorials. That's intangible. The service, the inseparability of the two. Well, once a service, an intangible product has been purchased, it can't be separated out. The two parts must exist. The customer and those supplying the service must come together. They can't be separated out. The service requires both customer and service involvement. If you go into a restaurant and order a coffee, the service is the coffee being taken to your table, let's say. Well, if you're not sitting at the table, there is no service. So it can't be separated out. The two parts must coincide. You must be sitting at the table, and the service must be to the table. You can't touch the service. The service is what you receive. You receive the coffee. Someone carries the coffee for you, puts it on the table. That is the service. But they can't be separated out. Product and consumption cannot be separated. Whereas manufacturing companies can produce mass amounts of products and have them transported to customers, with the intangible products, it is produced at the instant. It's a more personal service, if you like. If you go to a restaurant, they will cook the meal for you. You order the meal and they will cook the meal for you. They don't, presumably, cook a lot of meals at the start of the week and keep them standing there waiting for you to go in later in the week. So it's not mass produced, it's not batch produced. So the two parts cannot be separated, production and the final market. Variability. Services vary depending on the occasion, so does the standards. Therefore, it's hard to distinguish between standards and standards of service provided. There could be variability. It is a service. So sometimes if you go into a restaurant and order a coffee, you get this coffee in a few moments. Sometimes you might have to wait a long time. The standard is variable. If you're organising a function for the company, sometimes the function will run smoothly, sometimes it won't run so smoothly. So there are issues in terms of the variability of the product. And perishability. Services can't be stored. They can't be stocked up and put into stores like you can do with tangible products. Once a service has been provided, that's it, finished. So if you go back to the restaurant example, if you go in, order a coffee, you receive the service. But before you go in, the waiter or the waitress does not go to the table 100 times, leaving coffees, to build up a stock of coffees for you to go in and have one. That would be silly. So the service only happens at the moment it is required. So services are perishable in that sense. They die. They are no use unless there is a demand for them. And at the moment the demand is manifest, then the service is supplied. And only then. So services are perishable. So we spent some time talking about different types of goods, different types of products, perishable and tangible and intangible and so on and so on and so on. Many different ideas. It's worth going back over these notes and just making your own notes briefly and researching some of the points online, just filling out your notes a little more fully and making sure that you understand the attributes of a perishable good, an inseparable good, the variability of the service. In other words, all that goes with the intangible products. And also understand the business-to-business issues that we discussed. And it's not just business to customer, B2C, it's also B2B. That's the point. That's all we need to do in this session, so thank you for watching.